Many thanks for staying with us. You're still watching The Morning Rush. My name is Desifedo in the Starbucks. It's time for us to talk. And I mentioned earlier that we were talking about food safety. I've got a lady and a gentleman joining me this morning to talk about that from the FDA. Senior Regulatory Officer from the FDA, that is Madam ASANTE, RITA ASANTE. RITA Ejekumwa, a lot of other ones, ASANTE. She's joined me here. And also Dr. Benjamin KISSI SASU is the Deputy Head of National Food Safety Laboratory of Veterinary Services Directorate, and we were talking about food safety this morning. How safe is your food? If you go out there to get some food, you know, do you even consider anything like that? Or you're part of those people that you say that the bigger the gutter, the nicer the food? You know, even if you go to the market to get some stuff and come home to cook, how sure are you that it is, or they are safe actually, to cook and eat at home? So that's the conversation we are having this morning. So let's get straight into it. Good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
My favorite food is fufu and groundnut soup.
Oh. Yeah, that's a typical Ashanti.
Fufu.
Yeah.
Which one is your favorite?
Fufu as well. Fufu. I love fufu and
Any
beans. Any day. Sometimes I get confused between beans and fufu.
Go away. Okay. Look.
My food is good soup.
Fufu, goat soup.
Yeah. Once I get it, I'm okay.
No, goat is a ponche.
Yeah.
A ponche.
Yes, you understand.
So on that note, when we are done with the show, they owe me something to eat. But anyway, let's talk about food safety. I know this has been going on over the years. Yeah. What has been the assessment? Let me start with you, Senior Regulatory Officer, the assessment of our food, the safety of our food as a nation.
All right, so good morning to all viewers, and good morning to us all here. All right, so I would say as a regulator that FDA is doing so much well with regards to food safety. And I can tell you that with regard to the food regulation we do in FDA, food safety is the heartbeat of the institution. And so we are assured as a nation that all food we are eating is safe. Okay. But then again, as consumers, we have the responsibility for ourselves to ensure that whatever we are buying, whatever we are eating is safe by looking at it, reading the labels, looking at the environment and everything. So yes, for the past 5 years, Food Safety, World Food Safety Day, since 2019, when the UN indicated there's a need to set a day aside to celebrate food safety in ensuring or publicizing, aiming to make sure that everyone of the public ensures food safety through handling, storing, preparation. And so for the past 5 years, FDA has been one of the lead agencies with regards to celebration of the World Food Safety Day. Yeah. All
right. And Doc, let me come to you and talk about your office. It's quite a lengthy one. Tell us what exactly you do in that particular space.
Okay, great. As you said, food safety, we look at food safety from production throughout to harvesting, transporting, come to processing, then come to the market. Then from the market to your house, how do you store them in your preparation before land to your plate? So we call it from farm to the fork. Okay. So that's what she was talking about, the role everybody plays. So there are different agencies and what they do. For veterinary service, we look at the animal food products. So from the milk, the meat, from the goat, from the chicken, the beef, all those things, and including honey. I think most people forget that honey is also an animal food product, which we do check. So basically what the labs does to once in a while do sampling to check the safety of these products. But veterinarians as well, as I said, production level must look at diseases. If you realize with the anthrax case, which has happened and people have consumed the meat and now we have lost their life. It's so sad that has happened in the month of food safety celebration. But it's also to re-emphasize the need for people to be educated, and we thank you for the opportunity given. So our lab basically once in a while go for we go to the sample from farms or from supermarket or cold stores to see what's happening with the microbial load, the residues that are found in those medical products. And as regulators and understand that they set the standards, we check whether they are into the optimal or their normal ranges. Then we can say it's okay for. If there are issues, then we have to inform policies. So that's basically the work that we do at my end. Like I said, even in the production phase, currently there's like an anthrax case in upper East region. Currently there will be ban of movement because for the animals, because we believe that when some animals move to another territory, they can send those how do you call it disease to the place, and other animals will be affected. And now we are going to lose food because you know those animals, we need them for our slaughter facilities to slaughter them. And at the end of the day, if humans take them, public health concern. So it's two things. There will be economic impact and there will be a public health concern. So we needed to go there to salvage the issue. In developed countries, the best is we should have gotten our animal food products, especially that of the meat, from slaughter facilities.
Yeah,
but
true.
You know, we are in developing countries. We have not gotten there. And so once in a while, people try to raise animals at their backyard. People have their own personal farms. But the good news is that last year, there was a national food safety policy which has been launched, and now all agencies in place are brought together to look at it and see the implementation. So we all play our role well for Mother Ghana. The good, the issue that products that come from outside, we do strict, but it's the one that internally we have issues where we need to beef up, how to call it, in the area. You know, our informal sector are so a lot. So
it's a huge
place. So trying to track sometimes becomes a whole, but we have started processes to get to all those things. Because when we're sending products to other countries, they are very strict, and all the customers, all the farmers, or everything want to do the best. In all, what we want to say that food safety is everyone's business, even they include the consumer, as he said. You are going to buy, so if it's meat, the color has changed, it's not smelling well. The person tell, oh, because I had a breakdown of my fridge, oh, when you go and cook it, and African just doesn't kill. No. Once the color has changed, gas is not smelling, it's not smelling well, if it's expired, all those things are things that we need to be careful about. And many a time we have had some form of foodborne illness because sometimes we don't report to the hospital. And with the data available, the whole year, globally, there's 420,000 people are dying from foodborne diseases. In Africa, we're having 137,000. And 1/3 of it is children. So in talking about this, we are looking at children also being educated.
So I like the fact that you've mentioned the other non-canned, you know, the one that would directly come from the FDA, because we would have to go through the processes and do all that. And so for the ordinary Ghanaian, if I get into the supermarket, I can get something by looking at the expiry date, and that is something that comes from your end. You've checked all of that. But for the other side, where we just walk into the market, you know, a good form in the tomatoes, everything is there like that. As a regulatory officer, what should we be doing? Can we even regulate that space also?
Yes, it's actually been regulated. We have the Ministry of Agriculture. We are Women in Agriculture, where they educate the women in that area to be able to make sure that the foodstuffs right from the farm, like you mentioned, food safety is actually from the farm to fork, which means that the farmer has a role to play, the driver transporting the food from the farm has a role to play, those receiving the food stuff from in the market have a role to play, the customers coming to buy has a role to play, whoever is cooking the food has a role to play. So in the markets, FDA goes to the market to educate. Once every month, there's a market there, but we organize. We shuffle between markets within the region and across the country. So market women are educated how they keep their foodstuffs. Ideally, their assembly are supposed monitor the environmental health officers go around and ensure that foodstuffs are not supposed to be displayed on the ground directly. Whether you're putting a mat on the floor and arranging your stuff, it's not. You are supposed to lift it 1 meter above the ground. So you have a pallet where you display your foodstuffs from there. So ideally, that's what is supposed to happen. But then again, you have people still. So sometimes it's more of an attitude change. People know that they're supposed to do the right thing, but it's like they've done it over and over again. Nobody has died that they have seen. So for them, it's okay. But we are emphasizing here with World Food Safety Day, or FDA is emphasizing that as consumers, you go into the markets, people display their tomatoes on the ground. Don't buy from people who display their food directly on the ground. Don't buy rotten tomatoes. Don't buy rotten onions. Sometimes it's rotten and they peel it. You see, they peel it and then
the rotten part to people need it
to dish it off. So it's about the quality and it's about the safety. And food safety looks at all of it. We are making sure that, so I mentioned that you are making sure that whatever food you are eating, food safety is all about ensuring that the food you are eating maintains its nutritional content in order to protect and promote your health. So you don't want to use rotten, how do you call it, onions or tomatoes. You cook the food and it's actually lost its nutrients. And or you basically don't get anything from it, or it doesn't even last long like it's supposed to. So in the market, we ensure that all these are done well. People are selling even under shade. Because there are some fruits and vegetables that when it's displayed under direct sunlight, it loses its nutrients. Most of these vitamins are not stable. So under, we know our conditions here in Ghana. So it's key that we protect, we provide shades. We provide shades for most of these fruits and vegetables. Our consumaries can be in the sun for hours and we just go in and buy. So as consumers, we have the role to play, like he mentioned. Food safety is everyone's business. And this year's food safety, World Food Safety Day emphasizes food standards saves lives. So we are looking at the main essence is ensuring food safety. In order to prevent any kind of infection, in order to prevent any kind of food risk, in order to promote health, improve trade, and be on a roadmap to alleviating poverty generally. So
I met my boy growing up in Community 1 when I'm walking, to school, and I can't mention the name of the market. I don't know where they got that name from, but something Jaso. That's Community 1. There's a big bin. Where they call you mentioned it. There's a very big bin where they collect all the rubbish from the market, and just close to that, you're having people displaying, goods for, customers to come by.
Right.
When you see that, I mean, as a lab person, how bad is that in affecting the quality of the food that we are going to buy? Maybe people out there, like you say, oh, African gems know they kill. This thing, go do as anything. You are in the lab. Tell us what that could affect, what that could do to the food stuff.
Yes, so normally what to make food unsafe are about 4 or 5 factors. They can be parasites, it can be chemical, it can be toxins, it can be bacteria, it can be viruses. So once you get closer to rubbish are unwanted, and they give a kind of situation for all those things to thrive. So it's unsafe for them to sell clothes. The factors she was talking about is socio-cultural issues. Because people have done it for years, they feel we have not seen ourselves getting sick. So sometimes I try to educate them becomes a problem. That's why she was advising that if we, the consumers, are not buying clothes to those people, they will begin to move. They feel, oh, we still get people to buy, so we'll continue to be there. But if all of us, that's why we are taking the time to sensitize the public. So now when people are not buying from them, they'll see the need to respect regulators when they do go there. And the assemblies are doing their bit. Even in the issue with slaughter of meat, if I realize at first they were using ties to bend them and all this, all these are changing. And they are beginning ready to give us standard slaughter facilities across the country so that all those things will be improved for our safety. The good thing is that apart from using it rotten, you can see a food that everything is okay, physical appearance and everything, but inside there might be issue. It can be chemicals. People are using pesticides on their farms. When it comes to animals, the antibiotics that they are using, the kind of feed they are giving, can all put kind of residues in those things. Those why you can't see them. That's what we as lab would do for you to see. You will take them, cook them nicely, and you don't know.
They look good.
Yes, and good. And that also creating an issue called antimicrobial resistance. As you sit here right now, you may go to the hospital, they'll diagnose you and they'll give you a prescription. You will take the drugs, that doesn't work. Why? You have taken some residue of those drugs already, and your immune system or your microbes in your system have become resistant. So the drug that should have healed you within 2 or 3 days now takes a longer time, and sometimes it doesn't work because your milk, your meat that you have been taking have traces on all those things. These are becoming an issue that we need to look at. That's why they're talking about food standards. What are the standards? You are supposed to have a trial period when, as a farmer on your farm. Are they observing it? These are issues that you have. Before you slaughter, they need to have a check, or some of the meat needs to be checked that's okay. Truly, you bought this drug, after 14 days you waited. Because the 14 days allows the drugs, in case after being worked in the body, to come out through urine or through excretion. That's basically about it. And those is expected. Don't forget, there is a problem with fish. Because fish industry too, they also are part of the food. And that's where, when there's a mess, it affects a lot of people, because especially if they are, doing it on a water body that still provide water to the people in the village. So even over there, they don't even encourage them to use certain chemicals or even antibiotics even in there. And when these fishes are coming out, are we checking all those things to ensure that people are being saved? So we'll do our bit. We are not there yet, as you said. It's a big place and it's a social culture. If you don't take care, you would, if you use a force, people don't mind you. It's something that they have lived their whole life. You know, one of the days that we have not had a lot of development like this, industrialization, chemicals, the population was not growing, so people were not in a hurry to make business or to increase their production. Now, because
now everybody wants to do
as scam, people want to increase their production, find all means, chemicals, and
oil
all those things.
And all those
these have become a concern. Whereby, and even our society, the mining that is happening, the mercury and those things, the water board that is used to water this and these animals, these have become concerned. That's why there's a need. So somebody who's in his house will say, "Oh, gone are the days our grandparents ate all those things." Why now you can't tell us all those things? If you realize for some time now, you hear a lot of issues with liver, kidney, cancers. Have you asked ourselves? Every now and then you are seeing fundraising for people, and that's just what are the issues. These are issues that are coming for food. You know, issues with food is either you get instant or it takes a long time.
It takes a long time. Yeah.
And that's so sad.
That's sad, so when you don't even know it and it comes later.
So today as we talk,
people
should take the need of it. To take what you are talking about seriously. Maybe you get it right now. It can be 20 years. It can be when you have gone for retirement and you have issues, and they'll tell you that it's something that has been there for a long time.
We've talked about, I mean, we've got a few minutes to go. We've talked about food, you know, from the markets and all that. The other thing has to do with stepping out and going to get food. So you have the restaurants, the joints in our communities and all of these places. How are we checking? I think that the last one that became so big was the Mawako thing.
OEB recently.
I remember that. Elvis, our colleague Elvis was there to check in on that. How's that been? You know, moving around, checking that food also from these places that people go out to go eat from are safe. All right.
So the FDA regulates all these catering joints or the eateries, including street foods. So what we do is that we do, it's a yearly licensing of all these restaurants where we issue our certificates. So we go out to check pesticide management, how garbage is taken care of. We go out to check infrastructure, how preparation is being done. So there's all we call the good hygienic practices. That's a code of practice. So we ensure that whatever facility we go to is abiding by all these guidelines or these codes of practice that has been laid down in ensuring food safety. So once you go through, you have no non-compliances, we would say, you are issued with a certificate. Now we've started the licenses of street food vendors, and we are licensing.
Normal watching and all those joints.
Yes. We started the licensing of the environmental health officers who are with the assembly. They do that, but now we are collaborating with them. So by law, the Public Health Act 851, Section 7, it indicates that FDA is supposed to monitor through. Now we've gone a step ahead of just monitoring through, working hand in hand with the EHOs in licensing each street food vendor. So before you are licensed, you undergo a form of training in ensuring that you understand what we are doing and what we are saying. Because some people say, oh, every day for saying, no, you need to understand the need. The need in protecting public health. And then because ideally, if you wake up in the morning, you have diarrhea, you're not supposed to cook. But people just overlook it and they go and cook for the public. But you are educated and you know all this. So what we are saying is that food safety is embodied in what WHO calls 5 keys to safer food, which is keep clean. When COVID was in, a part of me was happy because everyone was adhering to hand washing.
It showed that we could do it.
Oh, man. I was so excited. I said, now people really appreciate it. So the first key to ensuring safer food is keep clean. And one of the key things under that is hand washing under water with soap. And then the second part is separating raw from cooked food. In the refrigerator, you need to separate your raw food from your cooked food. Well packed, arranged nicely. And in the refrigerator, there's a way of arranging your foodstuffs. There are cooler areas, there are medium cool areas, and then there are like the average cool areas. So you are supposed to arrange your foods in that order, where you have your bread and all that at the top, and then when you're going down, it tends to be cooler. Now, the third key, which is cooking food well and reheating. Most of the time we leave food, we don't reheat it. Whether we reheat it or not, it's not properly done. So the incident with the outbreak in OEB had to do purely with reheating food. So it was not reheated well. And then the fourth key is buying food from clean areas or using wholesome raw materials. And which is very, very important. We just overlook that. And then the last key is keeping food at safe temperatures. What the safe temperature do you keep your food? So all of this, we play a role, the industry play a role, the government play a role. In that.
And also, those of us, the consumers, we also play a very key role in that. We'll be talking to Dr. Benjamin Sasu. I'm just going to, Doc, We are wrapping up.
Yeah.
In 30 seconds, anything you can add?
So going tomorrow, all over the world, 7 June has set aside for World Food Safety Day.
Okay.
Let us spread the message. Let us let people to know that we need to have a good standard for our food to save lives.
Okay.
We're going to go to schools. We are going to have Makadeba. We're going to have panel discussion engagement to share ideas. We are going to, on social media, send some things for people to learn about. Let us all get together. Remember, food safety is everyone's business. We all need to join us.
Right.
All right, so remember, food safety is everyone's business. So do well to join in. That was Dr. Benjamin KISSI SASU, the Deputy Head National Food Safety Laboratory of Veterinary Services. And also you heard from RITA ASANTE KUSI, Senior Regulatory Officer at the FDA, talking about food safety. So please make sure that you get your food from the right place. When you go to the market, buy from a tabletop, not the one on the floor. When you come inside your home, to wash it well. If you know how to cook like myself, do well to do that. I know some people don't know. I'll invite them over to cook something for them.